program is brought to you by the Visual Arts Center in the Department of Art and Art History at the University of Texas at Austin. The Visual Arts Center's archive of public programming is made possible in part by the generous support from the Texas Performing Arts, a university-based arts center committed to serving the academic mission of the College of Fine Arts. For more information on the Visual Arts Center, visit us online at utvac.org. The following recording is a panel discussion for The Working Homeless, an installation by graduate student Daniel Rudin. The panel discussed issues raised by the exhibition and was moderated by Rudin and VAC curatorial fellow Noah Simblist. Panelists include members of the UT community researching issues of homelessness, as well as participants that Rudin filmed for The Working Homeless. It took place on February 25th, 2011.
Hi, thank you all for coming. My name is Noah Simblist. I'm the curatorial fellow here at the Visual Arts Center. And today we're here to talk to a bunch of people about Daniel Rudin's exhibition, The Working Homeless. Daniel and I had decided that we were going to put together a panel in conjunction with the exhibition so that we could allow some of the people that were interviewed as a part of the videos to actually be here in person and speak from their own voices directly to you. So a couple of things about Center Space, which is the exhibition space that this exhibition is in, is that Center Space is a part of the Visual Arts Center, and it's run entirely by students. And there's two main parts of Center Space. One is the actual exhibition space that Daniel's exhibition is in, and the other part is a publication and other events that the students produce. So just to go directly to introducing some of these people that we're going to hear from today. First, we have on my left, William Bernard Stringfellow, who was born and raised in Ruston, Louisiana. He graduated from Louisiana Tech University with a degree in interior design. After graduation, he moved to Los Angeles, where he attended the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. He moved to Austin after 12 years and is currently homeless. Christy, just next to him is Christy Deloach Bowick, who was educated at Texas A&M University and worked as a licensed vet technician for 14 years. She's the mother of 2 grown children and is currently homeless. Next to her is Scott, who was born in Louisiana and raised in Massachusetts, and he served in the military for 12 years and has since worked in construction, carpentry, and landscaping. Scott has 4 children and 3 grandkids and is currently homeless. And then next to Scott is Daniel being the artist of the exhibition, who's currently an MFA student. And then over here on my right, we have 3 people from the School of Social Work. First, we have Ben Calloway, who's currently a graduate student at the UT School of Social Work. Prior to starting the program, he was a case manager at the Austin Research Center for the Homeless. Then Dr. Sana J. Thompson is an associate professor at UT School of Social Work. Her research focuses primarily on high-risk youth and their families, with special emphasis on runaway homeless youth populations. She has conducted several externally funded studies of runaway homeless youth in the Midwest, Western New York, and Texas. And then finally, we have Tiffany Ryan, who's a PhD student at the UT School of Social Work studying homeless youth. She's worked with the adult and family homeless population in her prior work experience in schools, hospitals, and with organizations that focus on hunger and housing issues. So that's who we are, and that gives you a bit of a sense of the range that we're hoping the conversation will go. But given that this isn't only a conversation about sort of the larger social and political issues connected to homelessness, but also grounded within the context of an art museum and also a particular work of art by Daniel, the first thing I just wanted to ask Daniel was sort of what was the beginning of this project and what was the process that you went through to conduct your research?
It was pretty simple. I just started. My curiosity was piqued, and I just went out and started talking to everyone. Asking questions, trying to see what was going on, just having conversations basically. But ultimately, they had to, at least as far as I'm concerned as an artist, that had to have some sort of aesthetic framework. And so the problem was, how do I reconcile, some sort of art practice with an aesthetic content with this social context, which has, multifaceted, very, very complex, set of issues in and of itself. And so I just kind of had to hone in and focus on several specific things, and that was mostly guided by the conversations that were taking place.
So you and I had talked a little bit about this phenomenon of sort of driving down the street and then sort of confronting someone who's flying a sign, right? And so the thing that you were concerned about, you had once told me, was like, what if I got out of my car? Like, what if I sort of took that step to sort of move beyond just sort of looking from within sort of the safety of a vehicle and sort of moving to actually sort of engage people beyond this sort of quick moment on the street? And I'm wondering what that was like.
So the way the installation is set up right now, I want there to be some way for you as the viewer to listen somehow to the stories that are being told, almost as if you were to stop your car, get out of the car, and just kind of listen to a simple explanation of what's going on economically, socially, psychologically, physically. And so I kind of organized it around those terms, and I also included some material to kind of address the ambiance, the environment itself, and bring that into the space and have a relationship between that and the people who are talking. For example, William Scott or Christie, who are in the piece, making statements about what they're experiencing.
So I'm wondering what your experience was with working with Daniel, like the first time that you met him. Yeah.
So cool. He has done more for us insofar as giving us a voice than any single person or any single organization, entity, whatever, has given us. There's no one else has cared. It's that simple. And the first time I met him, I'm like, man, this boy is too good to be true. But no, he's been true all the way to the end. He's not somebody we want to lose touch with.
Yeah, for me, it was, somebody that actually cared enough to hear what I had to say. Excuse me. Somebody that would actually listen to what we had to say, that was actually reaching out and trying to help more than just, here's a couple $, get you something to eat, and say hi the next time. Somebody actually took the time to listen to what we were saying, not just, oh, hi, bye, and nobody does it. It's like nobody cares. I mean, yeah, they'll help you here and there.
I might interject. He was very devoted to what when I first like, I'm doing this, I'm doing it, like, okay, I don't care. No. He knows I told him, but he was there every time. When he said it, he says, I'm doing, and like, you're doing something. You're putting a flight out there. You were putting something out there. You were, and you are.
Because we've had a lot of people tell us they're going to do this and they're going to do that and do this. And we do not see hide, hair, tail, license plate, nothing ever again. And he has showed every time. And times we didn't think he was going to show up.
But he was there.
But yeah, the dedication is amazing. It's truly selfless.
Totally.
It really is. In a lot of ways, it's very selfless. And well, you can see what's going on over here. And the only reason I'm still talking is so I don't do that.
Can you guys remember that the first time that Daniel came up to you, and like, and what the circumstance was?
It was between you guys met him first, right?
Yeah, we did, and I couldn't.
You were
But he was looking.
You were on the St. Michael's corner.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, 35 and 183. That
Yeah,
was
she
the
was
first
first.
time. Yeah.
I don't want to dwell too long so that we can move into into like how the research was done, because it's pretty basic. Like I said, I just wanted to get out there and have conversations, record those conversations, and then allow the person who's telling me these stories to be in the position of the narrator when somebody's viewing the piece. And they can listen to it and be in the position of the person who's listening, the addressee. So, yeah, pretty straightforward, just talking, having conversations.
So I wonder if you guys want to talk a little bit, feel free for any of you to speak up about it, but one question was just sort of if if you can speak to anything about the specific conditions of homelessness in Austin, maybe like how many people, and how that might relate even to sort of the conditions of homelessness within the country at large.
I think in terms of statistics, there's approximately 4,000. That's the number that came out of the 2009. I don't know if y'all know homeless counts. But that being said, gathering numbers is difficult because people don't have a defined place to stay, and so these numbers, it's hard to come up to an actual empirical statement about the number, but they estimate approximately 4,000.
And how would that compare maybe to some national statistics in terms of maybe a percentage of the population here in Austin versus other places?
I don't know that. I know in terms of Dr. Thompson and I work with homeless youth specifically, and I know that population is very difficult to find because they don't utilize services. If you have an 18 or 19-year-old kid, they're not going to feel comfortable going to the Arch or the Salvation Army, and so they're a little more hidden. So that's a population that's definitely, I think, even harder to come up with a number on.
And I think here in Austin, the homeless youth population in particular is extraordinarily transient. In other places where I've been and done studies, the population is much more kind of stays in the same place. Here in Austin, we see probably a turnover of about 75% of the homeless kids don't stay more than about a month or so. And they come in and use services sometimes at the drop-in. There's a lot of camping out and that kind of thing. We have decent weather. So they come through and then they're just on their way again. So our population of homeless kids is very transient, which is very different than it is in a lot of parts of the country.
And this is, I think, a question that both you guys and you guys could speak to, but what kinds of services are available? Like you just mentioned the Arch or these other Salvation Army, these other organizations. Like what kinds of organizations are available for any kinds of help for homelessness?
Go ahead and talk about the adult one.
Well, the Arch, the Austin Resource Center for the Homeless, is a drop-in center, both a drop-in center and an overnight shelter for homeless individuals. They open about 6 a.m. At that point, anyone can come in and use the bathroom or showers or sit. I think there's 100 bunks at the Arch, and then approximately 115 mats. But it's important to note these are all for men. The Arch doesn't have any overnight space for women, so that's an issue. And also there's Austin Travis County Integral Care, formerly Austin Travis County MHMR. The county mental health service providers are there. Front Steps is the nonprofit that manages the Arch, and so they also have case managers there. So that you can there's an array of services available in terms of mental health and case management.
I think with the youth services are sort of different. They're provided in different facilities. They're usually, what did they decide, 16 to 23 are treated in a different location than the adults. The one thing that I think Austin doesn't have that I'm a little surprised, and maybe more than a little surprised, is a shelter that is just for youth. We have an emergency shelter for kids that's run by LifeWorks, but it's not really for homeless kids. And so the homeless kids population they can go to Salvation Army, but they choose not to. So the population that we are most concerned about, I guess, because of the younger ones, really have very few places to go when it gets cold, when it's rainy. It's kind of amazing, actually, that there's not a place for them to go in a more formal, structured way.
And I would add that it's kind of amazing that there's such a discrepancy between the number of beds that are available in the Salvation Army and the Arch and the number of homeless that there are in the city of Austin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I would be curious to hear your perspective on this as well, but not to put down the services that are available, but from what I have heard of the youth who have used services like the Arch or Salvation Army, it's not always a wonderful environment that you want to go to. And so when people say, one of the things that bothers me, and I would think bothers you, is, well, why don't you go to a shelter? Well, let me list the reasons. I'd be curious to hear your...
Let's go get sick, let's go get
Right.
Ashley's foot, let's go let our neighbors knock us around on the floor. That's, I mean,
Let's
you
show
might
up at
sleep
4 o'clock
3
in the
hours.
afternoon and enter a lottery, and maybe we'll get a bed and maybe we won't, and if we don't, then we're stuck
It's a whole-
downtown with no
yeah.
place to go, and if you try to sleep on the sidewalk or in an alley somewhere downtown,
No.
the police are gonna come and you're gonna go straight to
The
jail.
grand majority of people have established semi-permanent camps. Simply, as far out of the way as we can possibly get, because we're not trying to get any more tickets. We don't like them. They're counterproductive. But if you go down, say you go and spend the night at Salvation, from a woman's point of view, you're going to be on the floor, on a mat this thick. I got a queen-size bed in my camp. I'm not going there.
Plus you got me in it with you.
Exactly, and I got 2 cats. My cats were free. We sure ain't taking them to the Sally.
And we don't, we're not out where we're intimidating anybody, we're not out
Bothering
flaunting our area. We're secluded enough, but yet
We're kinda in the
centrally
woods.
located enough to get to the corners we need to be at to make our money, to get to the restaurants we need to eat. But yet, it's still kind of, I got the access road of 183 going by and I can hear the cars go by, but it helps me sleep. I've been doing it for
you
so
learn the
long.
rhythm of the night.
If I
You
don't,
learn
if
to get used
it's
to it.
silent, I don't sleep. I just,
And the problem with like the local services and so far as Salvation Army, the Arch, et cetera, spending the night is simply not an option.
Not an option.
Okay, it's the same as spending night in central booking. It's
but
the
to come
same thing.
get help is an all-day affair.
Yeah, in order to come get help, in order to come down and get on one of these lists, in order to work on your ID, work on all these other things, you're going to have to give up the entire day on the corner.
Which means I make no money that
you
day.
make no money, you have nothing to eat when you get home. Yeah, you can get lunch over here at Angel House or whatever, but that is
one
not
meal.
helping for dinner.
We'll see that all night.
Yeah, okay,
That's
it's
one
kind of
meal a
scary
day,
too. Yeah, but those aren't the only things food is not the only thing we need. So in order, we just can't afford to take the whole day and do one of these. We can't afford it, even with just the both of us. If one of us could do it and the other one can stay down and work, but it never works out that way. It's always, we just got to go together. We got so many things we need to do together. And
It defeats the purpose to do
Yeah, it really
everything
does.
twice.
it really does.
And that's 2 days I gotta give up.
So kind of in lieu of access to social services, you generate the income you need to survive.
It takes all day to eat, 2 to 3 meals. I'll give you an example of the expenditures that a homeless person has. We have the same expenditures everyone else has. We have laundry. We have light bills. People say.
They come in the form of batteries,
Yeah,
but
our
they're still light
batteries,
bills.
our candles, batteries, flashlights. It's the same thing as paying into the power man. We're still probably spending similar amounts. In my case, I have animals. They ain't going hungry. That ain't happening. We also have bug spray. Is going to become a big issue here in the next 2 to 3 weeks, probably. We have the same toiletry needs as anyone else. There's a lot of people are surprised when I tell them I need toilet paper. They look at me like, oh, I guess you do, don't you? Yeah, I kind of do.
I may not have indoor plumbing, but I've started
Yeah,
pouring.
anything that you would, anything you would buy for your home, we're going to need too.
Anything you buy to go on a camping trip, we can always
Exactly.
use.
Exactly.
Because that's how we live. It's like camping every day,
It is
all the
camping
time.
every day.
And we do the best we can, and we're not asking anybody to come by and give us $1 million. We're not asking people to break themselves or sacrifice,
No, go,
but 50 cents or $1 or
goes a
a
long way.
Walmart gift card for $10 so I can go buy groceries
goes a long
or
way.
most of us
anything
are-
that helps me to attain and fulfill my needs. And just my basic needs. I'm not greedy. I'm not trying to live extravagant.
No, not
Someday I'd like to be able to get a job and get an apartment again, but until then, I just do the best I
the
can.
grand majority of us
Wants.
are more than willing to work. I mean,
Ready.
think about it, okay? You spend 10 hours at your job.
Ready.
Okay, granted, your
I'm
boss
willing.
is an ass. People under you were not much fun either. But you know how much you're going to get paid. You know how much you're going to have at the end of the day. You know where your medical benefits are coming from.
I wake up in the morning, I
We
don't
get
know how
out
much
there,
money
we
I'm going to
get
have when I go to
called
bed.
everything but a child of God. Okay? We've had things thrown at us. We've had people spitting on us.
I have
And then
police
at the
like to
end
take
of
me
the
to
day-
jail.
Well, yeah, APD's a whole nother subject.
And I have church people that they're supposed to be in this church and rehabilitation program for
ARN.
Christians, and they're out there on the corner taking food out of my mouth.
That's it.
I go to get on my corner, and they're on my corner, and they won't give me any
They
time. They're
have a
there from
house
8
that
o'clock.
they live in.
They have
They're there
a
from
house.
9 o'clock in the morning to
places to
5
live
o'clock
in.
in the afternoon.
Yeah, and
5, 6 days a week.
At the end
It's
of the
just-
day, I mean, think about it. If you had to go through an 8-hour day where you were getting nothing, well, no, I'm not going to say that. 90% of the people you deal with are cutting you down. They're spitting on you again, calling you names.
Laughing at you, telling
You
jokes
up and
about
try
you.
to roll you, run you over here and there. And then on top of that, you got the police that are supposed to protect you. They're coming out here and they're writing you tickets. You talk about a stressful day at work. Okay, give me a job. Let me rake your lawn. I will scrub your floor with a toothbrush better than being out there on those streets. And yet, there was a time when we would stand out there in the morning always ready for work, and once in a while someone would come by and pick you up.
Most of the
like
time,
help
most of the
move
time they come by
storage
and
or
say, I need somebody to work tomorrow. Can you be here at 7 o'clock in the morning? So I'll stay up all night because I don't have a clock. So I have to make sure I'm up at
Exactly.
7 o'clock. And I go out there and stand there till 9 o'clock and nobody ever
And ain't
shows
nobody
up.
show. You know, it's not that we don't want to work, we simply don't have the opportunities.
Maybe this would be a good point to talk a little bit about how difficult it is to find an ID if you don't have it, because that's, I mean, I know that's a major issue for a lot of people,
It's
maybe.
easier to get
And then
DNA.
maybe,
If you don't have a social security card, you can't get an ID. If you don't have a picture ID, you can't get a social security card. I can't get one without the other, but I can't get the other without the one. So now what do I
Exactly.
do?
In my case, God forbid, I've got several marriages to track down in order to get to what is currently my name and get it put on a card. I've tried going around the system, under the system, through the system, beside the system. And you keep running into this wall. If you don't have an address, you more or less are
Non-existent.
nobody. And
Nobody.
supposedly, in my own personal experience, I've looked to people to help me get my ID, and they swear somebody's using it, that I'm not the person I am.
Oh, I've
What I don't get,
Identity
I've been
theft.
there before.
And, you know, it's real easy, people. I got 10 of them. They're called fingerprints. You can't tell me that there is not a database somewhere in the state of Texas. I've been here all my life.
nowadays for an ID
You
or
know?
driver's license, everybody does it. When you go get your new driver's license, they take your thumbprint and put it on your
Exactly.
driver's license. If you can do
What?
that to put it on my ID, why can't you take a thumbprint and go back in the computer and verify my thumbprint to the one on my
If
ID?
it's good enough to take my
and give me
happy
a new
butt to
ID?
jail,
I don't get it.
ain't it good enough to, you know, I mean, it's good enough for APD.
The city
Why
claims
can't
that,
they use those records towards
Helping.
helping us prove who we are?
it seems like the city wants to alleviate the problem, but they don't want to help find the cure to alleviate the problem. They just
No,
want
they
to
just wanna
sweep it
get
under
rid
the
of the
carpet and
problem.
make it go away, and it's not going to happen.
No.
And we're not the problem.
No, we're not.
No, we're the result of the problem.
So these are a bunch of questions you guys are like sort of putting on the table.
Sorry,
and
Jim.
putting
We're trying
up,
to
right?
help
No, these are great questions. These are great questions. And,
hate to
and
jump
it sounds
ahead,
to me
but-
like they have no really clear answer in a lot of
We
ways.
have,
and
They
you've,
don't.
and you've encountered these questions. You live them.
Big time.
I guess I'm wondering if
Repeatedly.
you guys have ever encountered these questions, or it's, the way sort of any position from on the part of the city or the state in relationship to these questions.
But yeah, with the IDs, that was a major issue. In working with clients, that was one of the biggest problems because you have to. There's a certain, you have to have certain form, and so we would try to find this or see if we could get this bill to count, but it didn't have a signature. Then I would, we'd get a voter registration card, but that takes 6 weeks to come back in. And so at times it feels like it's just a big, endless loop of finding a document.
It is.
And then if you don't have, like, the panel was saying, if you don't have that, you can't get work, you can't, pay a security deposit on an apartment. So just getting to the ID is a huge struggle, and it doesn't seem like the state or any authorities want to make it more efficient.
I've even thought about sending out a state for an old ID from South Carolina, because I lived in South Carolina for 10 years. Thought about going right around the happy state of Texas and get my son to see, in Charleston, South Carolina, they're 35 years behind the times. So I'm hoping maybe my son could possibly get a copy, because I had an ID made right before I left Charleston. See if he could get a copy and maybe send that to me, and then maybe I could take that to the state of Texas. But I haven't been able to locate my son. It's just, even taking a paper from Del Valley, not that I'm proud of spending any time there, but I've done small.
We're not
misdemeanors.
saints.
No, we're anything but saints. And prior to meeting him, I did some things I wasn't proud of, all misdemeanor. But anyway, even a piece of paper from Del Valley, signed by a judge, surely that can prove something. But they want so much documentation. And my whole thing is, every single one of us is in APD database, period. Match them up. I'm a college graduate. I have no business being on the streets, okay? I worked my butt off to get my career. And now because someone came by the first day I'm here, steals my purse, and I find out subsequently that they have apparently assumed my identity, now I have to be out here 5.5 years? Oh, no. Come on, there's got to be an answer.
It's got to be an answer.
There's so many people, so many homeless around here because of the ID situation. I would say percentage-wise, I'm just guessing from the people that I've met, probably 70% don't have ID. Probably 50 to 60% of those would love to go to work. I mean,
Can I ask a quick question?
Certainly.
Just in terms of the working? I'm curious how many people you know on the street that are working but are making such low wages that they continue to be homeless?
none.
None.
I can honestly say we don't. I
know one.
Do you?
Gorda works.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
Gorda,
in,
that's true,
she's in
that's
Montana.
true. She has a low-paying job, but she doesn't fly a sign though.
No,
But she
Right.
is homeless.
Right.
that's the point. She was saying people that are actually employed but still can't make enough money to not be homeless.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I guarantee you, there's probably 20% out there.
Yeah, that might be- it might
They're
be
like that.
fair.
I don't know hardly any of them, but I'm sure they're out there. I've gotten lucky and gotten a job unloading a truck or something now and then, or going to clean a warehouse. But it doesn't
Not
last.
enough.
I go work 2-3 hours and make $50 or $60, and tomorrow I'm right back where I started.
And on the opposite end of that spectrum, you've got people who have full-time jobs, who have houses, who have cars, who have clothes, who
And
have
they're
children, who
flying a
have
sign.
food.
And come out and
they're
fly a
carrying their
sign
happy
anyway.
asses out of the corner.
And they're flying a sign.
saying,
And
oh,
taking
I'm
money
homeless.
out of my mouth.
No. If you're going to be homeless,
Be homeless.
be homeless.
Don't just do
Don't
it.
pretend.
If you would have an idea that you can go to
If
this
you knew what it was like,
and a
you'd
place
not
to live
pretend.
You would not want to be out there walking up and down
and a
every
vehicle,
day.
you can get to services to get help if you need it, unlike us. I mean, it's,
Maybe we could talk a little bit about current trends, and Noah, you brought up that maybe it behooves us to talk a little bit about national statistics. I don't know if all the panel could weigh in on this, in your experience or in your research, as to what are the current trends in people flying signs at this point in time? Has it gone up? What is the
Way gone up.
competition?
It has way gone up. That we were originally, when I first met this man here, which I thank God for every day, when I first met him, we had a certain select little group of people, there were like 4 of us, maybe 5, that worked corners at 35 and 183. We basically all had our times. We had shift change, you know, I mean, we took
job.
breaks. Yeah, it truly is a job. It will beat the crap out of you.
When I
in the
started
summer.
out there 14 years
now-
ago, I was the only one there.
Yeah.
Now I can't hardly ever get any time
Now
on
you've
the
got
corner.
fist fights on corners, not because people are just want to get out there and get belligerent, although there are some of those. It's because their needs are not being met. And yeah, competition has gotten incredible. It's gotten vicious. And so now we've got homeless biting the homeless, and everybody, where does the circle end?
So Daniel, I mean, you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, that we were, without any sort of research necessarily to back it up, the conjecture that possibly the economic crisis might have affected the homeless population in some ways. That, like, when you're talking about there being more people on the streets,
Absolutely.
that might be potentially connected to
In the
that.
past 2 years, there's been an explosion. I mean, absolute nuclear explosion out there. It's gone from it's multiplied probably times 10.
The statistics show that it's now more, it's more families, so moms with children, and I want to say it was the average age of a homeless person, including the children who are homeless now, is 9 years old.
Wow.
Because you
scary.
take into consideration the children.
Oh, that is scary.
But it's gone, with the economic crisis, it's definitely turned more towards families. And, I would just say in terms of finding signs with the youth, we survey every youth in the studies that we're doing right now on that very thing, and that's the main way they get their money. That's how they survive for the most part. So,
And also another thing that has been talked a lot in the press recently is sort of how the economic crisis might potentially cut back on public social services. And I guess and there's sort of debate on sort of the relative merits of like public service to various kinds of disenfranchised people within the country versus private service. And I wonder if there's any kind of comparison that any of you can speak to between sort of the way that the public services serve the homeless population versus private services, like for instance church groups, like that might be doing some work versus like the
There used to
city.
be a lot more.
I would say, first of all, well, there's a lot of things with that. I would say, first of all, there's not enough services if you're looking at things that churches are doing. Also, a lot of them require you to attend church or do something which really should not be a requirement for services.
Thank you.
And a lot of them are volunteers who want to help, which is wonderful, but there aren't professionally trained staff there to help with, say, mental health issues and things like that a lot of the time. So that's just something I would say. But I would also say on the public end, we're not being funded enough for programs, and with this budget crisis, it's really, really scary. We were just in a meeting this morning with LifeWorks, and they have wonderful programs that are busting at the seams, that have wait lists, and kids want to get into them, and there's not enough space. And now we heard that one of those is probably going away completely. A transitional housing that right now only even has 8 beds, and those 8 beds are going away. And so yes, it's frightening what's going to happen.
The state of Texas needs to realize that in the long run, putting more money into social services. Okay, now granted, we don't really take advantage of social services simply because we live out in BFE. Okay, it takes all day, but in order to open branch offices, in order to make it more accessible, in reality, it may cost more originally, but it's going to come right on back in taxes when these people start getting on their feet, start getting the jobs, start getting their lives back together. Right now, you're just so stuck that it's a constant drain on the economy. If they give us the resources to get our happy butts back into society, it's going to eventually pay off.
And it's a whole lot cheaper than building more jails and more prisons and
is.
locking people up for doing what we're doing.
Yeah, it's illegal. Figure that one out, trying to get something to eat.
What doesn't make sense is, like I said earlier, they want the problem to go away, but they just want to sweep it under the carpet and make it go away. Just rub the magic lamp and poof, everything's better.
You can't put a Band-Aid on a heart
And it's
attack.
not going to help.
It's not going to help.
If you took the money that you're spending to build new jails and put more prisoners in there, and what the state's got to pay to the county or the county's got to pay to the state for housing them and feeding them and put that money into resources where people could get IDs and place and spread it out. You can't have it all just downtown.
Together, yeah.
Because you got 5,000, 6,000 people trying to come get services downtown. What's downtown gonna look like?
War zone.
It's bad enough now, congestion and traffic, but you put 3,000 homeless people downtown all at the same time, then you really got a problem.
I would not be downtown.
I'm not
And
either, I'm not coming.
everybody only needs, not everybody needs as much as other people, and not everybody needs the same things as other people. Provide services so you can find out what people need and find a way to give them what they need so they can go
Send
and
out
earn
some
income and put more
surveys,
money
you
back
know.
into the economy. Instead of dragging the economy down that's already in bad enough shape.
Exactly.
We can help build the economy back up, but they'd rather just sweep us under the carpet and say, go away, go away, go away.
You don't exist.
If I write you enough tickets, you'll eventually leave.
No.
It takes money to leave just as much as it takes money to stay.
Just gonna see my Happy Button Central booking more often,
It just,
Exactly.
because I can't afford to pay the tickets.
it just doesn't make sense.
So I was wondering, since we have a lot of people who generously were taking their time with us, if we could open to some
Absolutely.
questions or comments that
Certainly.
anyone might have from the audience.
Oh, come on, y'all, we're more interesting than that. Not behind you.
I came in just a little bit late, and I'm not sure if this was discussed already, but it's kind of, my question is, just from hearing this discussion happen, I think my ideas about what a homeless person is has been changed a little bit.
Thank
I
God,
was kind of wondering
thank God.
if you could kind of just, it's like a basic, maybe obvious question, but like what does it mean to be homeless, or what is that?
I can't tell you that there's not a certain freedom with it, but the drawbacks are incredible. Okay, like no plumbing, no heating, no air.
I take a bath in a cold creek.
Yeah, take a bath in a cold creek, hope you don't get bit by a soft-shell turtle or the neighbor speaking at you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a camping trip. It really is, but it's one seriously prolonged one. And it's also a seriously illegal one.
Or at least they claim it is.
Yeah, it's
But what else
such
can
a
I do?
mishmash. You've got to worry about the police. You got to worry about other homeless people, not us, obviously, we're family,
The stress is
coming
unbelievable.
by and snagging all your stuff.
I mean, people
That's
stress about paying their bills. I gotta pay bills too, but they got a job and they know how much money they got coming in, so they can figure out a way to balance the money they got
Exactly.
coming in. I don't know from the time I get up to the time I go to bed how much I'm gonna make during that day.
The
I just know what I
difference-
gotta have, and I gotta get enough to make sure I got what I
The
have.
difference between someone paying their bills and me paying my bills is comfort and life and death. It's that simple. Who's feeling this? I guess I'm in charge now. Y'all in trouble.
I was just wondering, as far as the people you know, how much connection or contact people that you know have with their families?
Oh,
Most of us are estranged.
I don't have any except her and my two cats.
Except me.
I have children, but I haven't talked
Yeah,
to them
we're
in
family.
forever. I can't. I tried to call my mom. She had two numbers. I tried to call my mom a while back when I'd gotten gifted with a cell phone, and both her numbers are disconnected. I don't have any idea what's going on with
And
my
the
family.
families that we've lost contact with, we replace with friends. And
Yeah, I would say the homeless youth situation is really different.
is it?
Most of those kids probably have, I would say, almost a weekly conversation with a parent or somebody that's from their original home.
But
Would you say do that
yeah, I
often?
would. And generally, I was actually just having a conversation with a kid down at the drop-in the other day about this, that, well, why, if you have contact with your parents, why aren't you with them? Why aren't they helping you out? And I think that's what we all wonder. And a lot of the time, there's just conflicts. They cannot live together. It does not work out. And they would rather be homeless than live in that environment. And due to many, multitude of reasons, it could be, mom's new boyfriend. It could be, drugs, it could be abuse, it could be the personalities just clash, mental health issues, it could be a variety of reasons, but for whatever reason, they still have a relation, you know, a connection to them. They're not totally, completely estranged, but it doesn't work for them to live together, and oftentimes the family is not the healthiest place for them to be anyways.
I think with the older people, the older generation, it's also a matter of embarrassment. There's a reason why I haven't contacted my son. I do not have the chutzpah to call him up. Hey, James, guess what? Mom's back. I've been out here 6 years. Can I come live with you? No, that's not happening. That's not happening. I don't have that much. No, I can't crawl that far. And I can't place it on him. This is not his problem. This is my problem.
So I was reading your story, and I got into it. I don't know if you talked about this already, but so you got to Austin and you lost your purse.
No, my purse was stolen from me.
So your purse was stolen.
Right.
Was it that hard to get? Like, why is it so hard to get?
I immediately called APD. Explained the situation to them. They're like, okay, well, we'll look, which, you know, they might have for 15 minutes. And you just get lost in the shuffle. I call them, did you find my ID? Who were you? Yeah, oh, yes, ma'am, we'll get back in contact with you. We'll get back in contact with you. Yeah, we know who you are. And pretty soon it's like, who are you? It's so gradual. It's a scary process. Truly scary. You get swept under the rug.
It's become even harder since 9/11.
Yeah.
You can't just ask for a new
My ID
one.
was not issued here, it was issued out of the state of South Carolina. So in order for me to start here, even though I was born in Texas, I'm gonna have to start with a birth certificate, which you cannot get without a
Proof.
mailing address. And someone to vouch for you saying who you are. From there, you have to go through, again, we're back on the marriage license issue, which could take years. I'm not like Elizabeth Taylor. I've only been married twice, but it's enough that in order to get my actual name going, I even tried to go at it with just my maiden name. I got the voter registration card and all that, got it mailed to the church that I was going to, and
Yeah, and then you
it came back married name.
Yeah, then you got your name wrong.
Yeah, it came back married name. So it's like, there is so much documentation that you need to start over. And unfortunately, a single fingerprint isn't gonna do it.
Birth certificate isn't enough either. I
No.
tried that already.
It's
Oh,
not.
this is what I'm going through right now. Because
Exactly.
I lost my wallet like 2 weeks ago.
Birth certificate's
And,
not enough.
Gonna have my, call my mom to have her get my birth certificate.
Yeah, see, I have no living family.
I can't even do that anymore.
But still, you're gonna have that.
And some other kind of proof to back it up.
For the other proof.
A utility bill. Where am I gonna get a utility bill? I don't have an address.
Duracell.
But I'm not gonna let them slow me down.
You tell me.
No,
They
you give them
they know us.
you give them your name and they find you,
We're
they
gonna
find
get
your
you,
picture,
sweetheart, I
they find the
promise.
description of you or whatever on their computer, or they find your picture on a computer, they match it up, and then they fingerprint you downtown and you start all over again.
So someplace like Arch, have you worked with APD and ever trying to create a database?
Oh, man, that would be a god.
Good, that would be fantastic.
Are there any social services that are looking at creating a database?
Pardon me, y'all.
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
That would be a real godsend. Yeah. They cut their crime problem in half.
Interesting question.
Yeah, really good.
I have a similar question, like, maybe you who are maybe more expert, I don't know who's an expert here, actually, if I was.
No kidding.
And I don't want to offend an idea about you, but if you buy a car with a temporary registration, like, before you get the real one, like, would that be difficult to get a temporary ID before the kind of months or whatever the other process is finished to recover your actual ID, to help people basically with something?
That makes a certain amount of sense. The problem is, again, you're running up against that wall.
Photography of somebody and a name
Right.
Yeah, well, like I said, since 9/11, everybody's worried about identity thefts and who's who, and then people will steal your ID, your birth certificate, and all of a
process is
sudden they'll
really
sell it to somebody for $500 or $600 because
Yeah.
they got your social security card and birth certificate.
And you're
Next thing you
good.
know, they got an ID that says they're you with their picture.
It's not very hard to steal an
Identity theft is rampant right now. So that it makes it hard for anybody that's legitimately trying to get an
Get to sunburn, y'all.
ID to get one.
It would also be interesting to do just a cost analysis of what it takes. What crime have you committed?
Exactly.
What cost does it take APD to pick you up, transport you,
Thank you.
put you in the booth, feed you,
Yes.
send you back on the street?
The voice of reason.
If that budget could be reduced and put over into social service, I mean, just, I don't know if anybody's ever done a cost analysis.
That,
Locking up the homeless is not an answer.
locking us up is
Great
not gonna be
idea.
the answer, because then your feet
Just
don't
generates
have
more
to
cost.
you know.
I just had one question. I know that there's a basic need to continue living, but I was wondering, like, individually, what would you say, motivates you to get through the day? Like, what's that thing that pushes you to, like, continue on other than just the fact that you just survive? Is there any motivation to, like, why, like, what
Yeah, the hope to get to a better place.
Yeah.
I have to keep going every day if I'm ever going to get to the place where I really want to be with a job and a place to live. I can't ever attain that if I don't make it through today into tomorrow and then tomorrow. I have to go through every day. But I know that sooner or later, God's going to smile on me and somehow I'm going to get there.
Oh, yeah, this ain't the
It's
last.
just
you've
faith.
seen of us. I mean, you're
I'm
gonna
going to get
see us
there.
driving our car one day. and, you know,
It might
we're not
take me
down
another
there for
15 years, but I'm going to get there. I have faith. That's just,
We have
and
to. It's the only
this
thing we
is a
have.
big step in the right direction.
Yes.
People
Yes.
actually, there's people who
heard
can
cl-
actually hear what I am going through from my own eyes, through my own life, through my own words.
Even if we can just change
My
the
experience.
minds of those in here to think a little differently.
If I can
It's gonna
change,
spread
if
throughout
I can
the
get
city,
one
something
person
might happen.
to see things more clearly, in a better light, what I do, to understand what I go through, just one, then what I'm doing is worthwhile.
And it's not, we're not doing this just to do it.
No.
It's
We're trying to be
survival.
the voice of every homeless person in Austin.
Everybody needs to have a chance to be able to express their views, to let people know what's going on. But it's not possible for everybody to do it. So we were lucky enough to be chosen to be ones that had a chance to do that to start with. And maybe just by the three of us doing this small thing, more people will start to listen to other people, and other people will get to show
Instead of
what
the
they're
bad
doing.
rumors, you'd have
And
positive
the next
rumors
thing you
going
know,
around, you
it's an
know?
open discussion everywhere. I mean, when I talk to people about homelessness on the street, a lot of people act like homelessness
I don't wanna
is
talk to you.
a taboo
Contagious,
subject.
you know?
You know, they don't want to know anything about homelessness, but if you understood
They revel in
what
their ignorance.
homelessness is all about, you could come to an understanding of how you might be able to find a way to help, or at least,
Even if you can't give somebody $1,
Be a
well, you went
sympathetic
down and
ear.
smile at somebody.
you know,
You know,
just say,
sometimes that
just let
lets
somebody
us
know, hey,
yeah.
I can't help you right now, but I do care about your situation, and if I can ever help you, I will, and just a kind word to let me know, hey, there are people that care. You might not be able to do
Yeah.
anything to
We're
help me,
not
but
just
you do care
signposts
about my
out there.
situation.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
So I'm sure in the summers, there's a big increase of like heat-related. I was just wondering how that changes your daily practice.
There are health issues irregardless of the season. You're talking about summer. Okay, I'm a hypoglycemic. I have some serious blood sugar problems. If I get overheated, I pass out. In the opposite spectrum, if I'm too hot, I can't sleep. So I've got a 10-inch battery-operated fan
It costs
that
me
eats
$12 a day.
8 Duracell batteries a day. If it doesn't run, I do not sleep. Okay? In the summer, you're talking about bug spray. You're also talking about, simply because we live in less than prime conditions, our immune systems are not what they should be.
And,
They really
you
are
can't,
not.
you can't keep food in the summer as easily as you can in
No,
the
it's, I
wintertime.
mean, yeah, we eat a whole
You
lot
gotta,
of
you gotta
McDonald's.
buy ice. I don't have electricity to have a refrigerator,
would
so
give
I
for
have to
some
get a cooler and ice is expensive.
Broccoli.
It takes 4 to 6
Yeah.
bags of ice, 10-pound bags of ice a day to keep food cold all day long. That's money I don't really have.
Yeah, and our.
But I have to find a way to get it.
Absolutely, and our expenses change with the season.
I was also wondering about the issues like skin cancer.
Yeah, that's a concern. I'm lucky there. I come from basically leather-skinned people. So, I come from raised really dark-skinned Germans. And
Is there any kind of resource in the summer that opens up for you in terms of also dehydration?
not really.
There's nothing any different in the summertime than there is any other time of the year.
No. Although people do
In the
give out
summertime, when it's
sunscreen.
real hot, a lot more people will come by and get bottled water out of their
Yeah,
car,
we
but
get a lot more water.
9 times out of 10, that's just as hot as it is outside, so it doesn't matter.
Even then, I'm still pouring it on me. But,
One last question, very back.
So actually, on, you know, kind of what you were saying, where do you get water from?
we're lucky. Well, we're nowhere like out in the sticks. We're basically talking Cameron Road and 183.
So what exactly is the source, like water bottles?
Oh man, what we do.
Who didn't pay the electric bill?
To answer your question, we're in a lucky situation where my husband and I, and also he's on the same water system. We're right by a spring-fed creek. Right. We have
Well,
a
drinking water I can get from
we go to
Wendy's.
Wendy's or something.
If it comes down to it, they sell bottled water at Walmart, which is up
Absolutely.
to, I can get it, but
But as far as bathing, it's time to go to the creek.
and it doesn't matter if it's 18 degrees, 20 degrees colder than it has been in a while. If I need a bath, I got to get in the cold water creek and take a bath. Hope I don't get sick. Pop lots of vitamin C.
All right, so we're gonna have to close this down, but there's still another hour for us to sort of talk one-on-one to these guys, and also to take a look at Daniel's installation. But one thing I just wanted to mention is like a couple of the issues that came up today sort of also came up in the context of how to deal with this panel, right? Because as a university, as an art space, we value sort of cultural workers, right? Like people who have something to say, who can change people's minds. We have artists who come to lecture. We have academics who come to lecture, critics or art historians, and they often get paid for that labor. And so, in order to pay some of our panelists tonight, we had to go through very creative means to get by some of the bureaucratic restrictions. But I want to thank all of our panelists for being with us tonight, and to thank all of you for coming. And please take a few moments to take a look at the installation.